Going on down to AfterBuzz, gonna talk your favorite show.
Friendly hosts everywhere, humble talks without flirtation.
Going on down to AfterBuzz, gonna see my favorite host.
Ample thoughts day or night, people shouting but never fighting.
Heading on up to AfterBuzz, gonna hope we don't ramble.
We like those with big fat titties, man, I hope this show ain't shitty.
Come on down to AfterBuzz and meet some hosts of mine.
We're talking episode 4 franchise prequel. You guys invited us here. Check out my style. You can't block me. My style. We are not the episode. This is our style. I'm Phil Svitek.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. That was the voice of Stephen Lemieux.
It was really
aka
bad.
Mark
That
Zuckerberg.
was terrible.
We're your panel for South Park.
Look at my rosy cheeks.
We have Stephen Lemieux, Steph Sabra,
Forget the name.
Missing in Action, Christian Blatt, and I'm Phil Svitek. Welcome, ladies and
That's what
gentlemen.
his name was. Christian, got it.
Excited to talk about this episode. Not necessarily for me because of the episode, because it means we're less than a week out from the fractured butthole.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, it's a prequel to that game, essentially. And
Yep.
and here's the thing, like, if I honestly didn't know all the ads surrounding it, I wouldn't be as excited about the episode, because truthfully, it wasn't the greatest episode for me. I thought I worked a little bit too hard to set up the video game in hopes that people would buy the video game. Luckily, I was going to anyway. But, you know, truthfully, it kind of was, it was what it was.
Yeah, this wasn't that good of an episode. Let's be honest. Like, we don't even have to sugarcoat it. Like, this episode was probably like a 3 out of 10. It was like the last time they did a video game, they set it up with like all the characters in Star Trek uniforms and in Lord of the Rings uniform. Like, they really set it up well. Even if it wasn't like amazing, it was still really good. And this just did not do that at all. This, like, it had a few funny jokes, but even like one of the funniest jokes is the fact that it, like, makes fun of like Batman vs Superman stuff. Like, but you have to pause it to read all the phases to get those jokes, and everything is a setup for the whole Putin thing at the end, which could have just been a lot more involved throughout the story of the episode.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it didn't come full circle. It
Yeah.
just kind of like was, oh, let's tag something on, which makes this episode feel like it should have been last season. Which probably we would, if compared to the crap last season, this probably would have been one of the good episodes last season if they had put it there.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Steph?
I think I agree with that for sure. That I think it would have fit in better last season, and also just there was funny parts, but it didn't really all flow into a good storyline that had a good punchline at the end. Like Steven said, I feel like it was set up. And like you were saying, it's set up for the video game, and it was also set up for the one Putin punchline at the end, but it wasn't like, connected. But there were funny parts. I really liked the Mark Zuckerberg part. Really liked the voice, like your guys' imitation too. So that part was funny, because I feel like that's exactly how I view him.
Interesting. Well, here's the thing, you know, to take the video game aspect for a moment, it does make me nervous for the video game, because you would, with an episode like this, like, you know you're going to set up the video game, so I would imagine a lot of planning actually went into the episode, and so for it to not live up to what a normal standard is, I don't know, maybe they work just better under pressure, and having 6 days is actually an asset to them, not a hindrance, and so having too much time is a hindrance. I don't know. As far as the Mark Zuckerberg stuff, I found it funny.
It just didn't really make sense.
Yeah, the problem was, like, I didn't quite understand what they were fully referencing. Like, I understand, you know, all the false and fake news and things of that nature, but how and why they pulled Mark Zuckerberg in the way that did, and I never heard him talk about Stoyle, so
Yeah.
I didn't get that reference.
Yeah. I didn't get the references, so to speak. I just thought he was funny, but he was he didn't need to be as central of a character in that episode as he was. He was basically the entire episode for the parents aspect of and the kids. The funniest part with him is when the kids beat him up and then set him up on Facebook Live. That was funny to me.
Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know, they had enough present day stuff to work with and include like the characters from Fractured But Whole to create a good story, and they didn't. Like, they throw in one Weinstein joke, but, like, you have a whole team of superheroes, and you could make the entire episode about Weinstein. You could make the entire episode about Weinstein telling everybody, like, walking into people's cars and walking into their house and be like, no, 5 minutes, don't ruin our friendship.
Yeah.
5 minutes. Like, you could have that whole, you could replace Zuckerberg with Weinstein, and this episode would make much more sense, actually, and be more
Maybe.
topical.
That's true. Like the kid's taking the blame basically for all the stuff he's actually done in real life.
Is Weinstein like an actual national topic, or is it more like industry?
You're going to say that Weinstein's not national when it's, like, in the news, like, 24/7 right now.
Yeah.
What the hell with Zuckerberg having a robot voice and
Yeah.
talking about $17 to do ads? Like, yeah, I mean, I get it, but that was relevant a year ago. That was irrelevant before Trump was even president. That was relevant when people were talking about Russia buying ads on Facebook. And that's the whole punchline for
Yeah.
this episode, was that Russia bought ads on Facebook to spread misinformation about Hillary.
And now the news articles that have been coming out are saying that Twitter and Instagram were almost just as involved and have as many fake ads as Facebook. It's just like coming into light later.
And if anything, they could have tied a comparison saying that, like, it's the equivalent of Weinstein paying off these women to keep silent as Zuckerberg being paid off to put out fake news articles. Like, they could have drawn a comparison there. Like, you have so much modern day satire that you can draw from, and you're going with Mark Zuckerberg being Speed Racer. Again, is another trope. The Speed Racer talk is something they've already done. And the whole voice of him having a changed voice and stuff, like, I didn't get it. I don't know. It was just weird for the sake of weird, for a punchline with Putin, with the characters that could have had just such a much better storyline. Like, they could have ragged on the fact that Justice League is looking absolutely terrible, but we only get a throwaway line at the end where it's like DC can't even get through phase 1. So, like, I don't know. It's like I'm watching the episode, I'm like, okay, when is this going to start to make sense with current times? Because, oh, okay, Putin, great. That's it?
Yeah.
I do agree. They definitely had a lot more potential to kind of make fun of a lot of franchise movies, and the nature of just superheroes movies in general, more specifically Marvel and certainly DC. I would appreciate that. I mean, to me, maybe it's because it's me, but I did laugh at the Netflix jokes were the funniest to me, and I get it's probably because I'm an insider. So selfishly, I probably would have enjoyed that episode more. I can't speak for the general public, so definitely, voice your opinion. You can always say fuck you, but just say fuck you because.
Maybe this was a dig at Age of Ultron, because it's like so built up with all these superheroes that everybody loves, and then the villain's just kind of shit.
Maybe.
I mean, I will tell. Somebody brought it up in the chat. Oliver Quinn says it's about people thinking they can blame Facebook, but Facebook's not responsible. I mean, we do have that with the parents, because the parents are like,
Yeah.
they invited him in to talk, and then everyone's talking about, like, oh, like, we can't be responsible. Mark Zuckerberg's doing this. And it's like, I have the moral here, which I wrote out, which sometimes you miss now that you don't have Stan just saying, you know what, guys, I learned something today. But in this episode, if you can't handle the negativity that Facebook can provide, or the responsibility of weeding out whether something's fact or fake, you can't be upset when other people do the same thing. It's like, you shouldn't have gotten a Facebook in the first place, because obviously, if you're not researching shit before you share it, nobody else is researching shit before they share it. So you can't be upset when people do the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah. I get that. I mean, as far as parents taking responsibility, that's certainly an issue and a trope that's been handled before, even dating back to proper condom use. Maybe there was one before that, but remember, like, when the parents are like, it's up to the schools to teach our kids about sex. So, I mean, that's a hotbed of discussion, certainly.
I think it's a mistake to get your news from Facebook regardless. I don't know how many people... Do you guys do that? Because I definitely don't.
A lot of people don't, but you have to realize that it's not even like...
It's just access?
No, it's just being in front of you. That's the thing that a lot of people don't get, is that your mind doesn't remember the source. Your mind remembers the information that it accepts. So, like, unless you're, like, specifically saying, I watched an interview with Phil Svitek and he talked about this, and you can directly reference that the only time that you were talking or listening to Phil Svitek's voice was this, then you're like that. But if it's like, what if you're scrolling through Facebook and you see 3 posts about an earthquake in Mexico? You haven't watched the news,
Yeah.
but you can still reference that there was an earthquake in Mexico, even if those were all lies. So you're still picking up information that you haven't really, but you're like, oh, well, if they're posting about it and I've seen it 3 or 4 times and it's on Facebook and a bunch of people are talking about it, it must be true. So I'm just going to form my opinion based on the assumption of truth. And that's what is happening right now.
Well, furthermore, I forget the term, but this isn't just a phenomenon with Facebook, but where you only search for the news that you want. And so when it does come to Facebook, there is that, certainly part of what their whole ordeal is, making that algorithm so they cater to you. But by catering to you, you're
They push
essentially
you
blocking
further.
off
Everything's saturated. Yeah.
yeah, everything that you might potentially want to be exposed to, or maybe don't. I don't know, but certainly aren't.
Well, they had an interesting interview a few months ago with Brant on Brant's show here at AFTERBUZZ TV with Richard Berkman, who's a lobbyist, and he said it's really interesting what Facebook and the internet does is based on your search algorithms and stuff, it pushes you further and further to either side. So like if you're like slightly liberal and you start searching for articles related to that, your internet pushes you to more and more extreme ideals through that, and like after 6 months, like you can test it on your computer and just start doing searches and it'll push you more and more and more to that opinion base. Same with Republicans. Like the more you go to one side, you get pushed all these different articles and your Facebook starts showing you articles that are meant to enrage Republicans, or if you're a Democrat, it shows you articles that are meant to enrage Democrats to push you more and more, to separate you more and more. So it's
That's
kind
their
of
algorithm.
it's not specifically made for that, but that's what happens is because it tries to find out what you like.
Okay.
So when you like one thing that's similar to another thing, it pushes that. And with politics, it's very like there's a big line.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I see you like this page that's anti-abortion. Well, here's like 8 pages that are super liberal or super. Sorry,
A bunch of, like,
opposite of
dead
what I meant.
babies.
Yeah. So it like
It pretty much leads, if you don't mind me introducing, sorry, but it pretty
No.
much leads to people being on their own online bubble, being fed what they want to see rather than being fed what's actually out there and what's,
So playing into that, that's what the Russians used. If we're gonna go with that narrative and say that, like, that's what people use to sway opinions on Facebook. In this case, it's like if you start searching for Kuhn and Friends being dicks, you're going to find one article about Kuhn and Friends being dicks, but then in your sponsored feed on Facebook, which now every 3rd post or something is a sponsored ad, it would have different information about Kuhn and Friends. And if what you had originally searched for was a negative take on Kuhn and Friends, you're going to get more and more negative information about Kuhn and Friends. So everyone on Facebook who's seeing negative shit is just going to see more and more negative shit until you've entirely changed everyone on one side's opinion of this. And if the only news going out about Kuhn and Friends is negative, then everyone is in this long spiral of discovering more and more negative sponsored shit about Kuhn and Friends. So that's kind of funny in this episode that like Netflix has already like found out like, hey,
Yeah.
thank you for calling Netflix. We greenlit everything. Oh, we've never done this before, but we're gonna have to pass.
I did enjoy that. The other part that I did enjoy, as far as pushing out the fake news, I love Professor Chaos, and furthermore, I love the fact that they were in an abandoned Circuit City.
Yeah, and I love how like the Cirque became chaos.
Yeah. I liked his little business shop. People were working really diligently for him. I love his outfit though. Is that foil?
Yeah,
course.
it's always foil, but
Okay,
he's foil
just-
with the suit now.
Yeah, he looked good in
He's
the
a
suit.
suave
If we're
foil.
yeah, he was suave in that suit.
That's gonna be a good Halloween costume somebody could make.
Yeah.
Ben
Yeah.
Bateman, I nominate you. Get a
But-
foil hat.
One of the things I always appreciate about Professor Chaos is he's so caring towards his employees. You're
Working
really
on
I
in
know.
the
I
health
was
plan.
almost thinking like I would work there. I'm like, oh, they're all trolls, really, right? They're all just making up fake stuff. That's what they're doing.
They should hire Kyle's dad,
I mean,
Gerald.
Yes.
you take any news agency, that's literally
Yeah.
the business plan though, is
true.
we put out news articles to get clicks, to raise money, to hire people to write more news articles, to get clicks, to raise money, to write more news articles. Huffington Post, there you go. You got BuzzFeed, there you go. I mean, people are making videos at BuzzFeed to get the shock value or whatever, to get clicks with the clickbait titles, to make more money through the revenue, so they can make more videos to get the clickbait, to make more money, to get more, like it's the same,
Vicious
it's the same
cycle.
thing. And when one person, it's just like back in the day with Randolph Hearst, where he was of the mindset of a certain political affiliation. Now you have all these news agencies who are doing clickbait to raise money, and it's pushing that political affiliation. So that's why you have, instead of neutral news organizations reporting facts, you have things that are shock value and clickbait pushing there. So it's basically a competition of the right and the left with all their different news organizations.
Hold on. I just got a text. Christian is dead.
Oh, good.
I'm sorry that it just came in. I'm sorry. Christian Blatt
my
is
gosh.
officially
He's
dead.
dead.
You should tweet at Christian DMZ hashtag RIP.
I'll do that right now.
Christian, I'm sorry that you're dead.
The internet's-
Hopefully, we'll keep you abreast if there's any recovery. But as of now, he is dead.
Phil's trying to start a death hoax, which those actually get spread pretty far and wide before people realize it.
That's
and what
true.
you don't realize is if you walk up and you grab 100 people and you show them, let's say, a plate of spaghetti, right? And then you show 100 other people and show them biscuits, like you have 100 people talking about, hey, Steven's selling spaghetti. So like you might not grab the same people. So even if you do a death hoax and it goes out to 3,000 people, when they recant it, you can't guarantee that all 3,000 of those people are going to hear the recantation. They're like, you have 3,000 people going around saying that somebody died, and in their mind, until they see an article saying otherwise, that person's dead.
Well,
It's the
as of
same
right
with-
now, Christian is still dead.
Yeah, he's
I
dead.
don't have other reports
He's in New York.
reporting otherwise.
But that's how viral media works in terms of articles and opinion-based pieces. If somebody, that's why it's so difficult in this day and age where like you have information going out about Weinstein, and that's why people are so disbelieving at first, aside from the whole fact that like people require evidence and other stuff, but like everything coming out, it's so creepy. It's just so ridiculously creepy. But like like let's say Phil. I'm going to say like Phil really loves blonde chicks.
Yay me.
Like let's just put that out there. Phil really just loves blonde chicks, right? Mm-hmm. And we tell we put an article out there and 100,000 people find out that Phil likes blonde chicks. You know, maybe 40,000 of those people are brunettes. And if they don't hear otherwise, if they see Phil, I go, he won't like me. 'Cause I'm brunette.
Yeah, sorry.
So like it once the information's out there, it's really hard to recant information. It's really hard to change the image that's already been portrayed. So like that's why everything is so ridiculously damaging on the internet right now, because nothing is held to journalistic integrity. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's really difficult, because now everyone says fake news is everything. So it's like, what do you even do? Like, it's just kind of a weird world we live in.
Well, in the words of Michael Scott from The Office, listen, to cancel out news, you just got to spread more fake news, and then everyone's going to be like, "Oh, everything's fake, so I shouldn't believe anything."
Exactly what's happened.
That's all you got to do.
That reminds me, this is kind of pointless, but I just got the worst fortune cookie of my entire life. It said, "You will always live in interesting times." Period. That's it. That's literally, isn't that not the worst fortune cookie? But
I would take it as a good thing, but
Oh my
okay,
God.
that's just...
Interesting.
Are you a
That's
Scorpio?
No, but I'm kind of like similar.
Okay.
I like you, like,
Similar.
No.
Your response just told me everything I need to know about your fortune cookie statement.
You don't think it's weird that a fortune cookie that you're looking forward to reading, saying you're special or some other stuff, tells you you're going to live in it, not that you're interesting, but you're going to live in an interesting world.
It depends how you interpret
Yeah, but it's
it.
all subjective.
All right,
It's
let's
all
move away
subjective.
from that. Let's
All
move
right.
to the Quinn and Friends. Steven
me-
has a whole breakdown of Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3. So,
All right, so phase 1, underpants. Phase 2,
Phase 1...
phase 3, profit. Sorry, no. So phase 1, The Coon, Netflix. Then phase 2, Super Craig, Man of Craig. Sorry, no, that's all in phase 1. Phase 1, The Coon. Phase 1, Super Craig, Man of Craig, Mysteria, Netflix. Coon versus Super Craig, Fast Pass, Fox series. Coon and Friends, 1. Toolshed, the animated saga, and the Human Kite movie. Then we have Phase 2, which is Coon and Friends 2, Armageddon, Rise of Captain Diabetes, Fast Pass versus Mosquito, Young Coon meets Young Professor Chaos, Begin Prequels, Mosquito, Tomorrow is Yesterday, Little Super Craig, Cartoon Network, Fast Pass Forward to the Past, Tupperware movie, Toolshed saves Coon, intro to Tupperware cameo only, Coon and Friends United 3 with Mysterion. And now we have Phase 3, Super Craig 3, The Earth Explodes, Fast Pass 2, The Earth is Okay Again, Coon and Friends Civil War, Super Craig X Wonder Tweak, Fast Pass vs. Mysterion, Cooney Amigos, Latin America only, Professor Chaos live at Coachella, Coonland at Knott's Berry Farm, Asia, final Coon and Friends movie, Intro a Chick.
And yeah, there you go.
I just think it's funny that like it's just so accurate to how these DC and Marvel are just like putting like a groundwork out there for this entire franchise and stuff. Just like what is it? Universal Dark, the Dark
Universe.
Dark Universe. And it's like, hey guys, how about make one good movie first?
Well, Marvel's proven they can.
Marvel did Iron Man before they did any of this, and Iron Man was one of the best one of the best superhero movies ever made. So like, it wasn't even like the plan, like let's make 30 movies when they made Iron Man. It was like, let's make a good movie. Robert Downey Jr. is not doing coke anymore. Awesome, this is great. Let's do it. And then DC's like, ah ha ha, and then they make shit.
Well, that's the problem.
Because like the problem with DC, which obviously everybody will hate me for being Marvel fanboy, even though I like both, because DC does animated stuff great, but when you look at, you can't follow Christopher Nolan's Batman series with goddamn Man of Steel and then do a Batman film that's just not good.
I mean, you could if both were good.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Man of Steel. I did not watch the one with Ben Affleck.
It's not terrible, but it's just like, then you try to take the Joker, which Heath Ledger just created, and replace it with Jared Leto, who's just completely unlikable.
Well, they made fun of Suicide Squad in this episode as well.
Which is thank
Here's
God.
the problem. Like, what they're making fun of, and I've talked about this on Anatomy of Movie on our sister network, Popcorn Talk, is, studios for a long time were trying to get to the F word, franchise. Now, franchise is like just a commonplace thing that you want to have, but universe, that's the pinnacle. That's what you want, the U word.
Well, let me tell you, Phil, we've done a really great job creating the AfterBuzz TV universe here as the ESPN of television. We've split our channel into 9 different channels.
Tell me.
Right now, you're in the animation universe, where you can find such shows as Robots in Disguise, South Park Weekly, Bob's Burgers, BoJack Horsecock, or anything else you want that's animated, like Archer. But you can also check out AfterBuzz TV Drama, or AfterBuzz TV Reality, or AfterBuzz TV Reality Competition.
Why aren't you Vanna Whiting this? Why do I have to Vanna White this?
Sorry,
Come on.
I'm listening. I'm very interested.
Or you can check out the show that me and Steph do called The Gifted on AfterBuzz TV Sci-Fi, which is an X-Men show. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, we split up into 9 channels. You can check them all out in the description of this video after it's done, and go check them out. Subscribe to this one if you want South Park every week and all that kind of stuff. And definitely check us out on iTunes too, because we've combined some of our feeds, and you can go to this one by looking up South Park Weekly and leaving us a comment and review. We haven't gotten a review in like ages. Back in the days of us sucking, and now in our current sucking age, we still haven't gotten reviews.
Yeah, we still suck, but just in new forms.
Yeah, like I'd like to at least have something tell me I suck in 2017. So then at least I'm sucking differently than in 2015.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that we've gotten progressively better at sucking.
Yeah.
I've worked hard to suck in a different way.
Yeah, we live close enough to West Hollywood that I feel osmosisly we should have gotten better at sucking.
Hashtag National Coming Out Day.
That number 2.
By the way, it was fun to do the last episode that we did. Speaking of which, obviously we've got a lot more episodes coming up, and so we're going to continue this sort of thing, talking about the episodes. However, I'm excited. I'm going to announce it now. Our next sort of non-episode episode is going to be ranking the top music of South Park.
That's good.
Is it the song they play where they're breaking down the jewelry and reselling it because that was a good song? Or is it the Kentucky Fried Medicine or whatever?
It could be that. It could be Put It Down. It could be Jackin' It in San Diego. It could be High School Musical.
Suck on my
Put
chocolate
It
salty
Down.
balls.
It could be anything, So start thinking of your list. I feel like Tweak. Oh my god! I gotta make a list. I don't have time. What am I gonna do? Anyway, Coon and Friends. Anything to really discuss? I mean, unfortunately, I know we've kind of jumped here and there, but it was a very sort of surface episode. I mean, I get, they're talking about on the surface of what they're talking about that.
Here, let
And
me look through my
discuss that.
notes. Shit. That was kind of funny. Shit. No, there's not really. I did like that we had a really funny moment in the episode. And it was all thanks to one girl named Heidi.
Oh.
You know, she just made the episode better. They had to include her.
That was so cringeworthy.
Yeah, that was.
Not because I didn't like, but just for Heidi, I was just like, oh God, Heidi, please stop,
just leave.
please.
Yeah.
You know what the funniest?
I agree. Heidi needed to go. They were in costume.
What was Wendy's costume? What was Wendy's thing last time?
I forget.
It was something about tampons or something.
I'm sure it was.
No, but I think in the game Heidi's gonna be the goddamn one of the villains.
I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because I feel like they wouldn't keep bringing her back especially this episode.
Yeah, she's got to be something.
We'll see. For sure.
If Cartman's paralyzed in the game, it just has Heidi standing next to him, just like, "Hey, babe."
You're stuck with me forever.
Just trying
Hey,
to play
babe.
video games just
I
like my
love when
friends.
she says that.
It's just funny because I relate it to one of my friends who just acts the exact same way whenever his girlfriend calls.
By the way, a lot of people do, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just like if you're dating somebody who makes you feel that way, like,
Yeah.
Don't
Why?
date them.
Yeah.
right?
Break it up.
Break it off.
Put it down.
Alrighty.
Hashtag put it down.
That could mean a lot of different things. Anyway, that about does it for us. We've talked not very meaningfully, but unfortunately the episode wasn't too meaningful for us. If you disagree, obviously let us know. All that fun stuff. In the meantime, Steph.
Oh, I'm Steph Sabra. You can follow me at Steph Sabra.
There you go. Keep it nice and simple.
I'm
Yes.
Stephen Lemieux. You can find me at Stephen Lemieux. And shout out to Oliver Quinn and Renji90998 in the chat. Oliver Quinn says, imagination.
That's right. That was a good one. I'm Phil Svitek. For all my social media stuff, it's the same thing, Phil Svitek. And check out my website, philsvitek.com. Check out at AfterBuzz TV. And definitely, as Stephen highlighted, check out the various YouTube channels. Ours is youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV animation. Correct?
Sure.
There you go.
Find us at your nearest Circuit City.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time. Christian's dead.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you
can't
later.
mock my style.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.